Okay, Craig, we probably best get started because we've got quite a bit of content to cover over.
Cool. No worries at all. So good morning, everyone. We will get started. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Craig Thompson. I'm the channel marketing manager here at Wavelink, and welcome. And with me, I have Jaden Zollo, our pre-sales enablement lead for Fortinet up in Sydney. Welcome to our second to last InfoBite session. It's been a really great year. We're really excited as to how things have happened, how things with these events have progressed, and we're definitely finishing it off with a bang. This is a lot of content in half an hour. So we will get started. Anyone who hasn't been to an InfoBite before, we strongly recommend questions to Jaden. So you can either raise your hand or put the questions in the chat box and we'll address them in the Q&A at the end. With that being said, I will hand over to Jaden because I know how much content we're about to go through. Jaden, it's over to you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Craig. So when we sort of look at a Fortinet product roadmap, you've got to remember there's over 30 products. So what we've done is distilled it down to the S&B product suite, and we've added in a couple extra things like FortiNAC, Analyzer, and Manager as well. So when it comes to sort of the Fortinet roadmap, they do have a process in place to get this information to you. So the main thing is that when you actually read your data sheets, it's always best to use the links for the data sheets. You'll notice on the last page in the bottom right, it'll tell you the product that the data sheet is for and a revision number with the year and the date. And it's really important to use the links and not use old PDFs because Fortinet often changes, especially with their software, their inclusions, and especially with the license bundles as well, what's included. So using the latest links will actually get you to the customer what's actually included with what they're purchasing from that date onwards. From a Wavelink perspective, we get information updates from Fortinet head office. We also get sheets from the engineering team about product readiness, as well as Taiwan from factory about orderability. So getting in touch with sales at Wavelink or with myself or anyone else from the pre-sales team is a good way to get additional information about what you can, cannot, or what you can order about to stop being able to order from Fortinet as well. But the most important way you can self-educate is knowing about the Fortinet sort of product lifecycle itself. Now, you can jump onto support.fortinet.com and then you can scroll down and look for that icon there, which says the product lifecycle. And what that actually is that that's Fortinet's over 20 years, as you know, it's their 20th anniversary this year. So over 20 years, how they actually map out doing their products because they are periodically upgraded. So what will happen is there'll be an end of life notification. And then 90 days after that, you'll have your end of order date. So you won't be able to order the product after that EOO date, and then it begins a 5-year support phase. So over the next 4 years, the last time you could have ordered that product, you could have ordered the 60 months of support on it, or 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. And then what then happens is you get to that 12th, sort of that 4th year, or the last 12 months after the EOO, and then you can only extend the support, the FortiCare for that product on the last service extension date for 12 months. Then after that, it's end of support. So what will happen is that if you try to raise a FortiCare ticket against that device, then that's it. You won't get any support from it. You won't be able to renew the FortiCare. It's over. So when we said before 30 products, 4 form factors, all industry, all sizes, what's actually we're covering off here is that SMB suite and a couple of items in enterprise, which FortiNAC, Manager, and Analyzer. So let's begin with the security-driven networking, which is FortiGate Extender AP and Switch. So for the latest version of FortiOS is 6.4.3 as of 22nd of October 2020. So it's now official from the 30th of March that 5.6 is no longer supported by Fortinet. So if you've got any systems that are out there that are currently running 5.6, you should really be charging them professional services to move them to 6.4 or at least 6.2. And if you've got some old hardware that you've sold in the past, you might want to check that it's not running 5.6. So make sure you patch it before, or once it gets to the customer site, you patch it up because 5.6 is no longer supported. Moving to 6.4 will give you some great things such as some automation stitching and better integration with fabric partners as well. So as we've all heard already, the F-series FortiGates up to 4 times faster speeds if you look at some of those mid-range FortiGates. But also note as well is that if you have a 30E or a 50E in the field with one of your customers, there's no version 6.4 update. They got halted at 6.2. So if you are doing a small SD branch sale, you now need to look at the 40F, and it's also coming out in a 3G, 4G model as well. And then keep in mind that the 60F and the 60E are running on the same firmware, and the difference on them is memory. So if you've got a large number of policies or you need a lot of different AV, IPS, and web inspections, try to lean more towards that 60E. But if you just want throughput and you just need the speed for it because they've got a lot of people doing sort of mini transactions all over the internet and you need that throughput, 60F is going to be great for it with 4 times better speeds. Just remember as well, just the inability to upgrade could be a way to talk to your customers about moving from a 30E or a 50E to a 40 or a 60. And also the new DSL models, they're not officially certified with the MDM, but they are compatible. So the Australian engineering team here can confirm if you use the DSL models of the F series, they are compatible with MDM. Okay. So just keep in mind as well with those new, use the latest data sheets so that if clients are comparing data sheet specs, they'll look at the FortiGate F series and go, oh yeah, this has great throughput. Now the new fixes are out and these have better branch features. So now with the 201 upgraded from the FEX 40D, what you're able to do is deploy one of these with branch sort of capability. So there's 5 Ethernet ports that are in the back as opposed to the 1 on the 40D. You can then get them to ping directly to Forti Cloud, Forti Extended Cloud, and they have a VPN configuration built into them as well. So you can have that sort of IPsec tunnel to run your phone system, for instance, with the FEX. So it makes it a much more practical 4G standalone device than some of the ones that come from the ISPs like the Netgear and Nighthawk. Okay, so don't forget, have a look as well on the different LTE bands if you're looking at some of the competitors, because the Fortinet FEX 211E is compatible on LTE band 28, which is a particular type of megahertz used on 4G. And if you've got any sort of past lost ops because you tried to pitch a FortiGate on its own and maybe didn't have, it was maybe too expensive, or maybe perhaps they wanted something that's a bit more flexible and easier to set up, the FEX could be a great way to do that sort of smaller SMB deployment. Now, Wi-Fi, as you know, Wavelength specializes in Wi-Fi, so we're very excited that the Wi-Fi 6 AX series access points in Fs have been released, and essentially they're the 2XX and the 4XXF series. Also as well, all the C series APs are now obsolete, and the wireless LAN controllers are beginning their phase out as well. So what Fortinet are doing are moving more towards the FortiGate as being your wireless controller and moving away from the wireless LAN controllers from that Maru legacy sort of setup as well. Now from a Wi-Fi 6 perspective, you've got the 231, the 234, the 432, and then we've got the small remote worker FAP23J. Now, they're all going to be orderable by the end of the year, we've been told. So the data sheets are already up and running. You can grab them online. Also as well, check the firmware. You want to make sure that with all the different tools they're releasing with Wi-Fi, that you're on at least 6.4. Same with all that security fabric integration and interaction on the FortiGate topography screens as well. Just as well, that's coming. They're going to be retiring the S series, and then the U series and the FAP regular series will now have that AV, IPS, and web security. So if you wanted to, you could manage a small branch with just Wi-Fi via FortiAP Cloud, and then have just the access points deployed and then manage them from the cloud if you wanted to do a security wireless solution without the need to install a FortiGate. Now, big news here, which is a low-cost F-Series 48-port Forti switch. So it comes with 4 10-gig SFP uplinks, which is great. This is really good to compete, especially because it comes in a half PoE, a PoE, and just a regular switch as well. So that's a 148, so it's a 100 series. And what that means is that if you don't need the MC lag requirement, then you can really pitch these 100 series F switches to smash a lot of the competitors out of the park. So if you're doing a FortiGate pitch, don't forget to essentially say, do you want to be able to extend to a per port on your switch NAC policy? Well, you could do that with Fortinet integrated with a Forti switch integrated with a FortiGate. So we also have a lot of promos that we run to do switches as an attach on. So if you do have a FortiGate op, or you have a FortiAP op, or maybe you're just doing a phone system op and you want to look at putting Forti switch in, talk to Wavelength, and we could probably do a promo and really heavily discount some of these great new switches as well for you. So let's move over to FortiMail. There's been a big change with the integration with Office 365. So now when you're using FortiMail, the integration with Office 365 on the back of the API that was sort of ironed out at the start of this year, now they have a better user view. So it feels more like you're looking at your users as they appear in Office 365 instead of sort of reinventing the wheel with the way users are shown in FortiMail. It's also the last 12 months you can extend on any D series FortiMail as well. So keep that in mind for any appliances you've deployed in the past for FortiMail. So the FortiMail 200D and 400C, that's the 12 months last service extension. And now a new 200F series is sort of going to be the replacement for the 200E. So you can see there it sits halfway between a 60D and a 200E. That's now the smallest hardware FortiMail that you can get. Obviously, there's been a big move towards Office 365 and a lot of people wanting to put their mail in a virtualized or cloud environment. So the hardware mail server is not as popular. And you can also check on the latest ICSA lab results where FortiMail only missed 3 of the 829 malicious email samples sent. So there's also better integration now with FortiSandbox. So I'll jump over to FortiSandbox as well. And that's essentially now there's support for the mail transfer agent. So a lot of people have said, well, FortiMail, if they've got Office 365, it's not really stopping any of the spam or any of the mail coming through because Outlook has a direct link to Office 365 via secure connection. Well, now with the way that the FortiSandbox mail transfer agent protocol works, your mail will be scanned just as it arrives in the inbox, and it'll be scanned in a particular way, especially if you've got the enhanced service, which is a new upgrade to the FortiSandbox cloud. And what that will mean is that it will be very quickly scanned in the cloud and then basically be released or removed from there using the protocols between FortiSandbox and FortiMail as well. So that's a great thing to have a look if you are doing sort of mail solutions for your customers and you want to integrate it better into the fabric, because as you know, FortiMail now appears as some as easier automation stitches as well when you're using a FortiGate with the rest of the fabric. So if you are sort of wanting to compare to say SonicWall, you should really point out that the SonicWall, whilst it has a particularly good score at 98.9%, one of the things is there's 27 false positives, where there was only 1 false positive when they did the test with the FortiSandbox device as well. So really have a look at some of those stats and statistics when you are comparing, or if your clients are saying, look, I'm looking at a different brand, because those independent third-party test results really do favor Fortinet simply because they really do over-engineer a lot of their products. It's great. Also as well, Windows XP sandboxing no longer supported. If you've got some sort of older environments, such as machine environments that are using XP, FortiSandbox will no longer support XP. So let's move to Zero Trust Network Access, and FortiClients being the big one of the year. So I just want to reiterate as well, is that the 10 free FortiClient licenses, it's over. So if you keep your FortiGate on FortiOS 6.0 and backwards, you'll still have your 10 free FortiClients. But as soon as you want to move them to FortiOS 6.2 or 6.4, that's it. The only way to activate the trial is by installing EMS, and then with EMS you'll get 3 endpoints that you can do the demo on. Okay. Also, the telemetry and compliance license that used to come with your FortiGate, they got rid of that now. It's now just FortiClient on its own. So why have they done this big move? It's because FortiClient is now more robust as a standalone endpoint, antivirus, patch management, telemetry, as well as an asset registry as well. So what they're really trying to push with EMS is that you can log in and you can get some visibility of your endpoints. You can start seeing their IP address, their MAC address, their hardware serial, their RAM. So they're really wanting to look at sort of go, well, what is Enable doing? What does FortiClient do? Some people get Enable with Bitdefender, and then that's their MSP solution. Well, FortiClient now can be an MSP solution. I've done some demos for some end users, and I've shown them EMS, and they're like, you know what? For a small business like mine, this is all we need. So it integrates with the fabric, which is great. And then also as well as standalone as antivirus, it's got some great test results. If you look at A/B comparisons, it blocks 100% of the malicious samples that got sent through. Not too much to update on FortiToken. The big thing is that, again, get it out there, talk about FortiToken Mobile. It does support push authentication now, which is great. So I don't constantly have to wait for that little wheel to tick over for me to be able to put in the code. I can just press approve on my iPhone, which is great. And then as well, it's anything that's oath compliant. So we use FortiToken for more than just Fortinet internally. We use it for our Google services, our NetSuite services, our Marketo services, anything that supports oath compliance as well. And if you are doing any sort of FortiGate sales, remember you get 2 free FortiToken cloud licenses as well. And I really strongly suggest using the cloud version, because then no matter which FortiGates you want to log into, you can just sign in with your email address as a way to authenticate on that FortiGate. That's great. So have a look at that if you haven't already, FortiToken Cloud. And from a FortiCam perspective, it's not the greatest news here from an SMB suite, but it is good news for that sort of enterprise tier. So now there's a facial recognition license upgrade available for FortiRecorder, and some of their lower cost models have been continued to be phased out as Fortinet is sort of going down the path of really high-end cameras. So what this could mean as a way to interpret it is if you and look, this is what I've heard. I haven't got the official writing on it yet. So the latest FortiCam, FortiRecorder update says that a Fortinet hosted FortiRecorder is coming, which means you could, in theory, soon, hopefully, be able to put a FortiCam at a small business customer site, have that tap back to the cloud, and then you as an MSP or as maybe an IT manager of multiple sites don't have to worry about getting a FortiRecorder, which can be quite expensive, and maintaining all the data on it. You could just deploy the cameras themselves. Fortinet are really putting a lot of effort into the type of cameras that they're OEMing, and they're making sure they've got things like wide dynamic range so they work better in low light, the facial recognition nuances as well. So they also have heat mapping if you want to do sort of location tracking of where the popular things are for OHS as well. So if you do want some more information on FortiRecorder, FortiCam, contact Wavelink and we can give you some more, because this is something they're going in a slightly different direction and I can't cover it off. It's such a short slide. Big news around FortiNAC, which is that Jamf MDM is now supported, which is really big in education. So if you are doing a lot of schools, or you're talking to schools and they are using Jamf, and they are interested in doing security for their mobile devices, then FortiNAC and the integration with Jamf is a great way to introduce that. So those of you not familiar with FortiNAC, it's essentially extending out FortiGates security and policy parameters out to third parties. There's a whole list of supported products. And what you can do is you can have a look at those cookbooks that exist on the docs.fortinet website. So even things like Ubiquity Unify Wireless, which a lot of people have deployed, but is known to be not particularly secure and doesn't have the best sort of control from a client perspective, you could drop a FortiNAC in and then have that Ubiquity sort of put some security layering over the top of it as well. So have a look over the docs.fortinet website for FortiNAC. Also for Mist Juniper Wireless as well, that's also supported as well. So review the list, know what's supported, and then if they're happy with their current vendors, but they're still security conscious, FortiNAC might be the way forward for them. Finally, around the fabric management platform, FortiCloud's been going through some great upgrades this year, but one of the really big things is FortiPentest. So if you have FortiCloud Premium, which in my opinion, every Fortinet partner should have one, if you would like to sort of, inquire on the price on it and see what you can get around pricing for it. But essentially, if you can have one account on your support.fortinet that has FortiCloud Premium, you get access to a range of different additional items in FortiCloud, but now they're also giving you a FortiPentest license. So you'll get a single IP address or a fully qualified domain name that you can do a penetration test on, okay? So it's a couple of the different reports that come with the Open Web Application Security Project list. And what it'll do is it'll show you that that IP address or FQDN passes or fails some of those requirements. So if you can get yourself a FortiCloud Premium license, jump on, have a test. Otherwise, read over the data sheet for it as well. FortiAnalyzer Cloud, unfortunately, still doesn't have Fabric support. So again, if people want Fabric, they need to look at the FortiAnalyzer VM license or the hardware itself, okay? You still, if you add on the FortiAnalyzer Cloud add-on to your FortiGate, you're not going to be able to activate Security Fabric at the moment, all right? So in FortiManager, the numerous single plane diag tools are now live. So some of the things we've been talking about around FortiSwitch and FortiAP, having their live tools and diagnosis, you can now do them straight from FortiManager, which is great. And also the FortiManager 300E is now end of order, okay? So start looking at the last service renewal for the next couple of years over those 300Es if you've got them deployed, all right? And then also as well, you should look yourself at getting a FortiManager to reduce the client patching time as well. I just want to do a bit of a plug there for FortiManager for any resellers who are looking to do a monthly service back out to their customers. FortiManager is a great way to do that type of patching and reduce your labor overhead costs as well. So they're the tools there that you can do now, which is the spectrum analysis, the detailed topography, and cable testing. You can do them now from FortiManager where FortiAP and FortiSwitch is deployed. Yep, and then that's also using FortiManager Cloud if you want to bolt that on. So that's something else to consider as well. Finally, with FortiAnalyzer, so there's a new SD-WAN, a bunch of monitoring reports and assessments that you can do. So if you've got a FortiAnalyzer, you can run them on your SD-WAN sites. And what they're designed to do is to show you what applications are accessing what, when, and where. So very similar to the CTAP that gets done, the SD-WAN CTAP. It's similar reports, but now as dashboards and monitoring within the latest FortiAnalyzer patch. Also keep in mind that the FAS 200D and 300D, it's their last 12 months you can extend. So start talking to your customers now about what they're going to do with those older FASs, whether they move to an F series or they get ready to say, look at a G series. So G series are on the horizon. We've been given some word about some new G series ones coming out. We don't have the information to release just yet, but it should be early next year we get some information on the G series. All right. Yeah, and just also there, if you've had any past sort of lost ops, just remember that the FAS 400F has 150 devices max purchase under NFR. Again, same as FortiManager. So you can get yourself a FortiAnalyzer, split it up into ADOMs and charge a monthly service, which might be cheaper for a customer than buying their own FAS. And most importantly, it can give them security fabric. So you can host your own FAS and give people security fabric instead of them buying, say, FortiAnalyzer Cloud add-on for their FortiGates. Okay, so all of this, especially around the hardware, is leading up to this particular slide, which is the upgrade and save trade-up program. So if you haven't used it already, you can access additional discounts once a product is announced end of order, as we saw in the product lifecycle. Contact your Wavelink sort of sales ad or myself or your channel account manager and say, I want to trade up ID. I've got a customer that has a hardware that's now been announced as end of order, and I want to trade it up. So you get additional discount no matter what the deal size is on any of the hardware that you're going to be trading up. So going from C series or D series to F series, you'll be able to get a discount up front. All you got to do is put that trade up ID on the PO, and it gets honored by the order team in Singapore and Taiwan. Also as well, if you're using Forti rewards, then you'll be able to get a sort of a different type of incentive with some extra points on your Forti rewards point score card as well. So we've got 5 minutes left because I can always time this just right with 5 minutes for questions. As I said, a lot of content there. I know I whizzed through it. We will have a recording of this and we can do a summary that gets sent out. These aren't sexy topics. This is just literally the update on it. This is the core of what we have to do as a Fortinet distributor for you, and we love it. We love amalgamating all the information and cutting through all the Forti speak and getting to you the really core stuff about what the changes mean. So are there any questions there, Craig, in the chat box?
Yeah, so there's one, but before I get to that as well, just speaking to promotions, we've got the trade up promotion that Jaden's alluded to as well, and we'll put that up on our website. So we're in the process of getting that as a promotions page, but please also go to our promotions site and just have a look at the active promotions we've got running for Fortinet at the moment. We have our new accelerator program, which relaunched on October 1, that we welcome any advocate and select partners to sign up to. We also have the boost program through the Fortinet Deal Reg portal, which runs until the end of this year, I think. And then we have a few other smaller promotions as well in all of our Fortinet resellers. So definitely check them out and definitely take advantage of this trade-up program. It's a really, really good promotion. The question that I had, Jaden, it's more, I guess, of an industry related one in terms of products and product focuses for the next 12 months. Obviously, this year it was a massive focus on remote working and being able to have offices and remote office setups. Do you see that going into 2021? Like, what do you kind of see from an industry focus for Fortinet as we move into hopefully a COVID normal for Australia?
Yeah, so you know, a lot of the clients that I speak to, they're sort of saying, yeah, now we've got some people coming to the office, some people staying at home. So they are now, I mean, at the start of the pandemic, we were getting absolutely smashed with POs for people going, I need Forti client worked out, I need to do the VPN. How does this VPN work with FortiGate? Okay, so people were needing to know how to set up access to a file server on site, to a database on site from people working at home. Now, we've had obviously the remote work solution, which has the ability to take your handset so that if you're a receptionist working from home, you can still divert calls. Some people with soft phones haven't had the best experience with the way that some home internet has been. It's still been a bit of a mix. So what you'll probably see is some people go back and they love to go back. Some people will work from home. And working from home is now the business owners are reading what they're seeing on cyber.gov. They're hearing what they hear on sort of LinkedIn around, the security risk of people working from home and their security. So it is something that business owners are asking us about. And, they're saying, what's happening with these people at home? They're using their own computers. I can't get them to install something like FortiClient so I can monitor what they can do. What can I do? So you can do things like VPN. So to do that, you would need to almost encourage people to use the VPN. So you'd have to put one of their essential services on there. And with Office 365 and SaaS, you can't do that. So that's why you've got things like what Fortinet have done, which is FortiSASE, FortiCWP, and FortiCASB. So they're sort of the three cloud-based security products that they've got. And I think for a lot of our resellers, they should really look at skilling up on that. Simon Brave from Fortinet's one of their leads, as well as Sumit as well, and Ravi. So they're the three in the cloud specialized team. And I think that that's going to be where a lot of people are going to ask, because putting the hardware in, people won't need to connect to VPN if they're using Office 365 or they're using a soft phone or they're connecting to Salesforce. So how do you make sure that what they're doing is secure and there's no data leak happening with what they're doing? You need to look at Fortinet's cloud security suite to do that.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, I thought that may have been a way. It's definitely going to get to a position where, like you said, you've got people working from home and working from the office as well. And then how does that work? If anyone has any last questions, please raise your hand. We can unmute you. But if there isn't anything, Jaden, thank you. Always a pleasure. Like we said, this was a lot of content to get through. We wanted to make sure that we got everything. Oh, we do have a question from William. Oh, sorry. William just said, all good. Thank you, Jaden. So thank you, William. Yeah, so we just wanted to make sure that we had all the important content for him, because there was a lot to go through. Like Jaden said, this session is being recorded. We will send around an email tomorrow with the recording. All of our info bites are also on our website. So if you wanted to go back and have a quick review of anything that you've learnt this year from our info bites, go to our website, wavelink.com.au, and then go to the online events section. Jaden, again, thank you very much for your time. With that being said, guys, we'll leave you to the rest of your day. Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.